Hey guys, today we have Ram and he is having 3 years of experience in Java, Spring Boot and microservices. And those who want to give same free mock interview, please fill out the form below in the description. So now let's get started. Hey, hello Ram, how are you?
Yeah, hi, I'm good. How about you?
Yes, I'm also good. Shall we start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Can you please introduce yourself and your recent project in brief?
Yeah. So my name is Ram, and I worked at a Virtusa and as a backend developer, and having 3 years of experience in like backend developer, Java, Spring Boot, microservice, and I work for a city client. So basically, in our project for city, basically we are working on banking domain applications. So in that, we are developing the like small microservice based upon the requirement. Basically, how we are getting loan from the customer. So this process we are doing in our
Okay. So
company.
how your microservices are communicating with each other?
So for communicating to each other, there are two ways. So firstly, asynchronous communication and synchronous communication. So if
Mm-hmm.
I talk about synchronous communication, so we can achievable by using REST template, that client and OpenFIM library. So if I want to talk about asynchronous communication, so we are using Apache Kafka and Rabbit MQ message broker. So
Okay.
using which we can communicate.
Okay. Okay. Since you said your microservices are also communicating with Rust API, so may I know what does this RESTful web services mean?
So basically REST APIs. So we can create a REST APIs using Spring Boot microservice. To creating a REST APIs, we need to mark class as a REST controller. So inside that controller, we can create multiple methods to interact with the database. Okay. So after that, we can create get mapping, post mapping. With the help of this request method, we can get the data and post the data.
Okay. Okay. So moving ahead, Ram, let's say you are designing a RESTful service for an online store. Okay.
Okay.
So how would you structure the endpoints for handling products, orders, and users?
So, if we are creating online application,
Mhm.
online application, so firstly, we need to create an entity class.
Okay.
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 After that, we will create a
Mm-hmm.
service class, and to make a loosely coupled, we will create an interface, and
Mm-hmm.
where we are keeping all the abstract methods, and we will
Mm-hmm.
implement those all abstract methods in the service class.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we will create a repository layer where
Mm-hmm.
we will use JP repository to interact
Mm-hmm.
with the database. And after that, we will create a controller, and then in the controller, we will expose all the endpoints. It will
Okay.
get the data
Can
and
you name few APIs which you will create?
like get the data.
Okay.
So I need to explain like how to
Okay.
do.
Okay. Okay. So in REST APIs, have you heard about safe or and idempotent methods?
So I have heard about it, but I didn't use it.
Okay. 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 So safe methods do not alter resources. It's a get basically. Whereas idempotent methods can be called multiple times without changing the outcome. For example, you are going to implement an API from scratch. So what are the important annotations you will use?
So the main important annotation in Spring Boot to create an instance API first
Uh-huh.
is Spring Boot applications.
Okay.
So that marks as a class as a main class. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And it is a combination of three annotation
Okay.
configurations, enable auto
Mm-hmm.
configuration and component instance.
Okay.
And REST controller to
Mm-hmm.
make our REST APIs call.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say that at the rate component or
Mm-hmm.
service, at the rate service, at the rate repositories,
Mm-hmm.
okay, request body, request
Mm-hmm.
parents, path variables, get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, auto wire. So these
Okay.
are the
Okay.
dependency we will use to make a REST API call or
Okay.
REST
Okay.
API service.
Okay. Okay. So Ram, before moving ahead, I would like to share one important thing with you. Actually, we had launched complete interview preparation material, structured step by step by myself, experts, and MNC's interviewers. And the best part is that now no one need to go anywhere else to prepare interviews. Okay, there's a 99% chance that the interviewers will ask questions from this material. So basically, it contains a lot of material categorized by experience levels. Means each experience level has different material with all possible interview questions and answers for Java, Spring Framework, Maven, Git, Spring Boot, Spring Security, Spring Data, JP, Kafka, Microservices, Java coding questions, Stream API coding questions, and many more. I have provided the link to get this in the below description. And if someone needs this material, plus two real enterprise client projects for reference, plus one-on-one lifetime doubt sessions and referrals to the big MNCs, then they should check interview preparation kit. I will provide the link for this as well in the description below. So now moving to our interview. Uh, okay, so Ram, let's say you are going to design an API for a booking system. Okay, may I know what fields you would add for the class DTO bookings, users, and payments?
So user should have user ID. We will
Okay.
mark as ID
Mm-hmm.
annotations. Okay, it should
Mm-hmm.
be like primary key of our application. User
Uh,
ID, user name. Okay,
uh, uh,
okay, a user email ID. Okay,
uh,
this is for
uh,
user and booking for booking of flight. Booking flight you said, right?
uh,
Booking flight you said, or
bookings only.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then this is the user review classes. Okay, and for booking office we can there also should be one booking ID.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and based upon the like what we are going to book. So basically, fields should be suppose let's take example we want to book the we want to make a booking flight booking application. So in
Mm-hmm.
that we will describe the like flight details like
Mm-hmm.
start times and
Mm-hmm.
departure time, flight
Mm-hmm.
ID, and like
Mm-hmm.
PNR number. So these
Mm-hmm.
are the fields we will like declare inside the video classes for both the
Okay.
videos.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So, moving ahead, uh, so how would you prefer to use request mapping over get mapping? Uh, Consider both can handle get requests.
So basically, like we can use request mapping to get the method. That is
Mm-hmm.
also possible, and using get
Mm-hmm.
mapping is also we can use. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a concise way to use request mapping over request mapping over request. No, no, get mapping over request mapping because if we are using request mapping, then we need to define something like value and then method dot method equal to method request method dot get mapping
Mm-hmm.
we need to write like more lines of code, not line of code,
Mm-hmm.
more words. So instead
Mm-hmm.
of this, we can use at the rate get map. It's a concise way to use.
Okay. 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 Got it. Mm, okay. So, can you please describe how Spring Boot resolves a URL to a specific controller method when multiple methods have the similar path variables but different HTTP methods?
So we can use values inside the
Mm-hmm.
request mapping. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
not request mapping, get mapping. So
Mm-hmm.
suppose that I have two requests. I'm getting get by ID and
Mm-hmm.
delete by ID. Okay, so both the things have alternate path variables. So
Mm-hmm.
if we are using get mapping, so inside get mapping, we will specify the like base URL, not base URL. After the URL, we will use like slash save slash curly braces, and we will pass the URL template variable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Okay.
any request is will come based upon the HTTP request, it will route to the particular method. So like this we can do.
Okay. 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 So, let's say you have created one API and that API is required to return the data, and data is such that it prevents the duplicates and maintains insertion order. So, which data structure would you use? Basically, which collection you would use?
Not duplicate and implementation insertion order. So
There
we
should be
can
no duplicates and but maintains the insertion order.
go for a linked hashtag.
Linked hashtag. Okay. Okay. Mm, so moving ahead, which database do you use?
Oracle MySQL.
MySQL?
Or Oracle
Okay,
SQL.
Oracle. Okay. Okay. So do you know any built-in methods available in JPA to get user details?
Yeah, we have find all method to
Find
get the
all.
data.
Okay.
Find by ID is also there. So
Uh-huh.
if we are using find all, then it will return list of all those things like based
Uh-huh.
upon the object. And if we are using find all, it will return only single method and it will return optional. Okay, optional
Okay.
class. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
to prevent the null pointing exception, we will
Hmm.
use optional class.
Okay. So let's say you have created two API, REST API. Okay. One API is returning data with response entity, and other is returning only data without any response entity. So what's the difference between these two APIs?
So response entity like we are using to get the response. Like suppose that any API we are getting and we are
Mm-hmm.
getting the success response.
Mm-hmm.
So there are multiple entity, response entity.
Mm-hmm.
If you are using response entity, then we can configure the status. Like it should
Okay.
be for 201, 2 not like that
Mm-hmm.
we can do. But if we are not using any response entity, then we cannot customize the status. So
Okay.
by default, it should come to 100.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So what's the difference between streams and collections?
Basically, collection is a group of objects, and
Uh,
to perform some any logic operations like
mm-hmm.
filtering, mapping. So we are using map, and not map. We are using a string
Mm-hmm.
to perform the bulk operation based upon the collection.
Okay. 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 So moving ahead, do you use the stream APIs in your project?
Yeah, we have I have used.
Which coding methodology you mostly preferred? You use stream APIs or traditional coding things?
Sometime they are using traditional, and sometimes they are using string API.
So what's the performances differences between them?
So when we want, suppose that let's take example, if we want to simple iterate any loop,
Uh,
so we can go for a traditional way, and
okay.
we want to some data manipulation in that string or list, so we can go for string
Mm,
APIs.
okay. Okay. And what is transaction propagation in Spring Boot?
Transaction propagation,
Mm,
I heard, but I'm not much aware about it. Maybe like we are using transaction. I know like if something goes wrong by fetching the
mm,
data or getting the data, so it
mm,
will help us to roll back all the changes.
mm. Okay. Okay. Uh, is the comparable interface in Java a functional interface?
Okay.
What?
Yeah. Both are yeah. It's a functioning
Why?
because it has only one object method that is compared to.
Okay. 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 So, can you tell me how do you handle exceptions in a controller and return proper HTTP status codes?
So we can use custom exception. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and firstly, suppose that I want, so let's take example, I want to save the data into the database. So
Uh-huh.
any request is coming, so we will keep all the code inside the try blocks, okay, in
Mm-hmm.
try blocks. Maybe possibilities of throw any exception, and after
Mm-hmm.
that, in cannot blocks, we will handle the exception and we will throw the any custom exceptions, which we write in our code.
Mm-hmm.
Like data not found exception like this, we can return. We will not found any data.
Okay. Okay. Uh, how would you implement a singleton design pattern with double check blocking?
I haven't applied double clicking, but we have
Okay.
implemented a single design pattern.
Okay.
So to
What is
create
singleton design pattern?
a single design pattern to create only one instance of the object to make
Okay.
to mark constructor as a private. So we can
Okay.
do that. We can achieve
So how
single
many
design.
design patterns you are aware of?
Like there are multiple design pattern, but I
Mm-hmm.
am aware about only single design pattern. There are builder patterns, factory method patterns, but as of now, I remember only single design.
Okay. Okay. Are there any differences between the design patterns in microservices, Spring Boot, and Java?
See, in microservice, we have multiple design pattern, like API design pattern is also there. API gateway
Okay.
design pattern is there. Event driven design pattern is there. SIGA pattern is there. Uh, these are the pattern is there in Spring, like microservices. And in Spring Boot and Java, we have like this simple
Mm-hmm.
design pattern, like the singleton design pattern, factory
Mm-hmm.
design pattern, builder patterns. This.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Mm, okay. So, how to implement a thread safe singleton? Have you done this before? Thread
Mm,
safe singleton? No. Okay.
mm,
It's fine. Moving ahead. Do you know the differences between try with resource and a standard try catch block?
Yes. If we are using try and catch blocks, so
Mm-hmm.
normal traditional try way, so we
Mm-hmm.
need to explicitly close the like costly resources
Mm-hmm.
using finalize, okay, finally method. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are using try with resource, then we no need to close the resources.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so let's say you are reading a file and also opening a network connection. So how would try with resource benefits this operation compared to a traditional try catch?
So if we are using try with resources, so we will write try and inside
Mm-hmm.
round bracket we will use file input output stream
Mm-hmm.
and after that whatever we want to open the connection we can open it.
Mm-hmm.
Then no need to close the basically no need to close the connection. Connection will automatically close the first connections. Like whatever
Okay.
the connection will open.
Okay. What's the difference between predicate, function, consumer, and supplier in Java?
Basically, predicate is a functional interface. It will
Mm-hmm.
take as a input as a parameter, and it will return
Mm-hmm.
a Boolean expression.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we are using filter method to get to use predicate.
Mm-hmm.
And a supplier basically it will not take any parameter. It will return the
Mm-hmm.
value. Like we are using get method, for
Mm-hmm.
example. And consumer will take input, but it will not return any value. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, like for each loop, for each method, and function will take an input and it will return the input as an output. For
Mm-hmm.
example, map method we are using in that case. Example of like function.
Okay. 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 So let's say you are processing a list of invoices. You need to check if an invoice is overdue, updates its status, print details, and supply new invoices instances, right? So which functional interface would you use for each operation?
We need to can you please repeat the question?
Okay. You need to check if an invoice is overdue, okay, updates its status,
Okay.
print details, and supply new invoice instances. These are four operations. So for each operations, which functional interface would you use?
We will use uh,
For
function.
example, when if we need to check if there is overdue, we will use predicate.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me for update status, print details, and this supply new instance.
Okay. Like this
Mm-hmm.
you are asking. So for getting for getting we will use supply. Okay. And for like updating we will use for updating we will use function, because function it will take input and it will return input. We will get and we will modify and we will uh, uh, return as output. And
Okay.
for
Okay. So see, uh, in print, can we use consumer? Because
yeah, we can use consumer for printing because
mhm.
in that we are using for each
And we can use supplier for supply new instance.
supply to get
Okay.
the data.
Uh, what's the difference between volatile and atomic variable in Java?
Volatile basically used to for the thread
Mm-hmm.
perspective, and
Mm-hmm.
the second one is not available. It's for user.
Okay. Okay, so when would you use a volatile variable over an atomic one?
Actually, till now I haven't used, but I
Okay, you
just read
haven't
it.
used.
That's it.
Okay, okay, yeah, it's fine. Can a constructor be present in an interface?
No, we cannot,
Why?
because we cannot create an instance of the structure interface. That is the reason.
Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. What's the difference between error and exception?
Error and exception. Error maybe because error can happen because of some hardware issue as well. Maybe out of bounds exception, and exception will come like when we are making any mistake while
Mm-hmm.
writing the code. Like
Mm-hmm.
it can be come after executing the program. That is called unchecked exception. If we are writing some code and any exception is coming, you can say that is a compile time.
Okay. If a Java application encounters an out of memory error, so what does this mean?
Out of memory.
Yeah, yeah, out of memory.
Because when we are creating an object, then maybe memory is not available for that. So maybe because of that, out of memory is very small.
Okay, okay. And what does this mean? IO exception?
IO exception means if we are like dealing with any file input output stream, so in that
Mm,
case, that IO exception will come.
okay, okay. Is it possible to revert transaction in a microservice architecture?
The reports
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can use
Uh,
using Sega patterns, design
okay.
pattern. I haven't used it,
Mm,
but I have heard about this. So we
okay.
are using
How
Sega
can
pattern.
you read properties from application dot properties or YAML?
We can use at the rate value annotations to get the data
Mm,
from
okay, okay.
this.
Have you heard about HETIOS?
No,
Hypermedia is the engine of application state.
no.
Okay, so it's a constraint of REST application architecture that keeps a client decoupled from the server architecture. Okay, okay. So moving ahead, have you heard about PowerMock?
Power mock, yeah. Power mock we are using for like test cases in the test cases to
Okay.
directly convert like any access variable. Let's suppose that I have one private method and we want to
Mm-hmm.
write the chain process for the particular method. So
Mm-hmm.
Power Mockito will help us to make it make it public to access that function.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So when would you use PowerMock or over Mockito?
So see, our Mockito and Mockito, we can use both, but if we are using Mockito, then we need to use some inbuilt function, inbuilt method to make
Uh,
it public. Okay. And if you're using Power Mockito, I haven't used, but I have heard like we can directly we can make it public.
okay. Can you explain about JWT? JWT?
JWT is Java Web Tokens. Okay.
Yes.
So I haven't like in our application like we are not using JWT,
Mm-hmm.
but a little bit I know Java Web Tokens. If we are creating, if we are hitting any APIs. Okay. So before that we need to authorize our APIs whether that
Mm-hmm.
in person is able to access that link or not. So if we are if we are hitting at API, then it will generate one token, so the token will consider header, payload, and body. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it will check internally whether the person is accessible or not, authorized or not. If the
Mm-hmm.
person is authorizable, then it will access. Then it will allow us to access the all the APIs whichever
Mm-hmm.
non-creating with.
Okay. Okay. Mm. So let's say you are implementing authentication in a microservice architecture using JWT. So how does JWT work here and what are its benefits and potential vulnerabilities?
We are using a dot, then firstly we need to use a Spring security to secure our application, and
Uh,
after that we will use some filter chain. So in that filter chain, we will define like which APIs should be accessible for like, which person. Like I want to make some API should be public.
mm-hmm.
So all those things we can define in that filter chain. After that, we will use like JWT.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't used it, so I'm not that much aware about it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, fine. Okay, so moving ahead. So, how can you improve the performance of a Spring Boot application? What ways you would use, basically?
So to performance issue, we can use a caching mechanism.
Uh,
Okay, basically caching mechanism, what will happen? Suppose that if we are hitting any APIs and we are
mm,
getting data from the database and we're taking some time.
mm,
So instead of getting all the times to the APIs, like the
mm,
database, getting API, we will use
mm,
caching mechanism. First time it will take some time, but next time it will not go to the database. It will take the
mm.
data from the caching and it will like use it.
Okay, okay. Mm. Uh, let's say you have a Java application where multiple threads are updating as a shared list. So, how would you ensure thread safety?
We can use a synchronized keyword as well to like control the
Mm-hmm.
multiple threads shared across the
Okay,
applications.
okay. Can you please share your screen and open any editor? I will give a Stream API coding question. Uh,
Yeah,
then,
sure.
yeah, okay. So, let's say you are given a salary of employees. This is store in an array. Don't make an employee object. Just create an array with name employee, and you are given a salary. Take any example. Okay, and
Mhm.
you have to find the average of the salary by using Stream API
Okay.
and print that average salary of the employees.
So we will go for suppose that we have created an object of employee
Mm-hmm.
and we have stored into the list. Okay. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just taking example and we need to do. So I'm just trying to do.
Okay.
Suppose that list of employee. So suppose that something is there, okay. I'm not taking
Mm-hmm.
example. I'm just need, otherwise we need to write the code.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in list we have all the data. List dot string dot. We need to take the average. Huh? So we will use comparator. We can use. We will use comparator. Can you give me some hint? Like we will use short or we will not use short. I know like we have one method like
Mm-hmm.
comparator dot averaging as a double.
Mm-hmm.
But firstly we will get math.
Yes, we have one method, or you don't want to use, then don't use that method. Just sum and just divide by total number of this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Or you can do you can use collectors dot averaging.
Yeah, yeah. That, that only collectors. Collectors dot averaging. If we not available. And like which method you will use?
Okay,
So
so I think it's fine, Ram. You can try after this interview. It's fine. You got the context, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Please then share your screen.